Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 2020 LCK Summer. I'm Atlas, and I'm joined now by the Valdanalyst. LS unfortunately lost control of his voice and his face in a lot of ways. Hopefully, he is going to be okay moving further forward in the week. But thankfully, we have the Valdanalyst to the rescue. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I was called out of my hibernation, out of my slumber, and I wasn't actually sleeping, but it does feel like sometimes the days in between casts are just, you know, days that don't matter because the LCK is the only thing that does matter. I was watching at home, and then I got the call.
Did you suspect that maybe you'd get the call when
in the
beginning, voice started slipping?
Yeah, a little bit slipping there was LS. But I hope he is okay. I'm here to try to save the day and not let you solo cast this time, Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that before. I'm not sure how that went. Mixed success there on that one. So thankfully, you are here to save the day. And also here in a very timely fashion as well. I mean, I think we called you just before the last game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly the longest of games either. So let's get into this series. Hanwha Life versus KT Rolster. Feels a little bit like a battle for who's going to deserve that 5th spot between a lot of these teams towards the bottom of the standings. Hanwha, though, do need to show us a bit more here because they've basically butchered their entire roster and started again from scratch.
Yeah.
And whether all of these rookies are actually going to work out is yet to be known. But something that we can confirm is that once again we have the Rox boys back in the solo lanes on the KT side. Interestingly, Life formerly were the Rox Tigers.
Yes, that is very true. And I think that shaky top side that is there in the points of the match is probably going to be the biggest issue, obviously, for both teams. Hanwha Life has been really struggling. I mean, Viper and Lehens have been trying, and they've been playing well, but it's not enough to carry by yourself from the bottom side. You can have a great solo carry, but if you don't have a team to protect him, you're not going to be doing very well. And I think on the side of KT, even though their top side was struggling a little bit, I think coming into this match, they still should be the favored team for this one.
Yeah, and actually they had a very good game one up against Gen G, I believe it was, if memory serves correctly, and it was. They've now faced Gen G and Team Dynamics, and Dynamics had a very good performance just there up against Solo and Prince. And so it wasn't an easy first week for KT. So looking to try and make a bounce back here. As you can see, stats not going so well for good old Hanwha Life. In fact, yeah, they're very close to the bottom. Dragon percentage, though, is something that KT has managed to take away from them as far as the worst stat. Yeah, I think it's yeah, you can imagine the 10th in a lot of these positions outside of the Dragon percentage probably belongs to Sandbox, who definitely did have our worst week out of the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, see whether the turnaround can actually come through. As you can see, it's been pretty bloody on the side of Hanwha as well. They have been trying to up the pace, and maybe that's where some of the teething issues have come in.
Yeah, that KDA is really funny, how the difference is only 0.001 KDA, and KT's got the lead, so obviously GG already, you can call it. But no, I mean, it was interesting because I was saying KT have the lead, but Hanwha Life did actually win that one game against T1. Against T1, you know, T1 did falter a little bit in that one. It wasn't their cleanest one. They went for a little bit of a strange draft. But it does show that Hanwha Life, if given the opportunity, can come up to the plate and actually take a game off of a good team. So this is definitely not written up and signed, you know, to KT just yet.
Oh, absolutely not. And KT really do need to prove themselves, and this gentleman on the top side of the map needs to prove himself. Smeb debuted in 2013, and Dudu debuted in 2020.
Yeah,
that's a big difference. Shout out to Bono as well, now taking on his former team. He was a oh wait, no, BBQ. Did Bono have any time on Hanwha Life? I believe he did have a little bit.
I think he did.
I think my brain is he went from BBQ to Hanwha.
I believe so.
To
yeah.
KT. Yeah.
He was with Sohan over there, right?
Yes, he was. He was.
Top side of the map, and then came over to KT.
Yep, that's exactly what KT did. They took 2 members of Hanwha Life and 3 members of Afrika and called them KT. That's what happened. And speaking of one of the members of Afrika, that was Aiming, and he has been performing very well. Their game 1 against Gen G was actually beautiful to watch. It was the game that Aiming almost managed to get to 300 armor on Ezreal. This is something that levels of armor only achieved over in the LPL, where the Ezreal also had an Ornn to augment the Mountain Soul that the Ezreal had picked up. But unfortunately, that Ezreal didn't build a GA like Aiming did, and Aiming had, even armor despite not having the ornament to add an extra 60. So, just nutty. But Viper has also been performing, and I think that bottom lanes are going to be what both of these teams rely on, because Viper and Lehens and Aiming and Tucson, these are both very strong bottom lanes. It's the top side of the map where things go completely haywire.
Absolutely. Just coming into this one, I joked, you handed me the POG selection sheet, and I just wrote a check mark in the 80 carry role, because it does feel like whichever one of these teams is going to win, it's probably going to come from the bottom side of the map. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the 80 carry. Maybe it'll be this guy here, Lehens, who has been trying alongside a Viper to carry his team. A little bit unsuccessfully so far, though.
Yeah, that's been one of the difficulties here. Is this guy on the top side of your screen, we saw Vintage Smeb in their game 1. It was a horrible laning phase, but then he didn't care about that, and it was all about finding those sick flanks. He did manage to find them, and that was great to see. Then they proceeded to lose both of the other games horrendously quickly. But Rascal's been performing very well. This is going to be different opposition, and Smeb and Kuro didn't play in their first series, so this is their second outing, this time against arguably lesser competition, against Hanwha instead of Gen G. And we'll see whether Kuro is going to continue to be so stable, because he played very, very well. Yes, he did play the very coveted TF in every single game, but he was still fantastic to watch on that pick regardless. So, looking to see what Acorn and Hirai have in store for us. The gentlemen that moved together over from Dragon X last year, and are still here. Acorn changed his name, but then he changed it back. So thankfully we can call him.
Good idea.
Yeah, very strange.
I'm not a fan of changing your name, especially after you've been in the scene for a while. It's like, what happened to Acorn? Oh, wait, he's there, but now he's like, I don't know.
He also changed his name to Chonju, which is actually his name.
Yeah.
So, like, he changed his name to his name, and so he had 2 of his name.
And then back to his name.
It's like you,
from
Brendan Valdez, he's like...
Yeah, I was Brendan at some point, and then, then I was Valdez, so now I'm both, I guess.
Well, we're also into the ban and pick. So Karma and TF have been banned away. It's Hanwha Life, so the Yumi's going to be taken after the Varus also bites the dust. And there's a Renekton ban for some reason up against Smeb, as Set will be the answer. Dudu looking to lock down a Trundle for CAD, the Canadian dollar. Whether it will just be a dollar or whether it'll be a loonie is something we're still about to find out. This was this hot piece of information that I caught from Thorin just yesterday.
Yeah.
He told me that another nickname for the Canadian dollar is a loonie.
Oh, boy.
Which is just brilliant.
So when he's not playing well, we can call him a loony? That sounds a little bit aggressive.
Is it aggressive? Because
I don't know.
Loonie's not like... That's not a real bad word. That's a cute little name for doing something silly.
Yeah, sure. I guess so. We'll call it silly for sure. The Jarvan pick, I like it here, mirroring the jungle. It's pretty good into the Trundle. It's a very good pick for Bono.
Yep, if it's Jarvan or Olaf, you're going to be happy if you're a Bono fan.
Sees the Trundle, he's like, well, I guess I'm picking Jarvan this game. I don't want to pick Olaf into that. And, well, Mr. Years was available, and we will see him here, although Ezreal is also available.
Yep, and that should be picked up by Viper here. No, I think that Viper will have a different idea. I don't know whether they'll go back to a Twitch comp, because, of course, that was based on being able to make a Yuumi invisible as well. Old Tom and Jerry down there is looks like Viper's going to take a leaf out of a book that didn't really lead down the right path.
Yeah.
Sorrywon Prince did not really figure that one out, but maybe Viper won't build a serrated Dirk, which would definitely be a good thing. Sorry, it was Team Dynamics that did that.
Well,
that was odd. Did you have any other insight as to why a serrated Dirk would have been built on Kai'Sa?
I don't know. It just seemed weird. Like, you kind of build Viper for those, mid to late game team fights where you're hopping in and just chopping down the back line. It definitely seemed pretty weird to me as a viewer as well, as we did have the Rakan hovered, but I didn't think that was going to be picked. He does go for the Taric, which I feel like is really nice because it deals great with the heavy engage that something like Kai'Sa Nautilus will deal with. And not just in the bottom lane, you already see the Trundle there. You're expecting a bit more engage from the team. And it's great with Jarvan too. When you're hopping in there, you can tag him and have a great engage of your own.
Also good against the short range of what Hanwha Life have shown us so far.
Yeah.
And how Kai'Sa wants to operate in a team fight. So not bad at all. We've got the Wukong band away, followed by the Azir. LeBlanc going to be taken off the board here as well. Remember, Kuro has a very extensive champion pool, so they're just trying to take away his best options. Lava could be aiming for something like a Zoe as they throw a Cannon Ban over towards Smeb. Shout out to Smeb being MVP of Worlds all those years ago.
Yeah. Looking to return to his former glory.
Indeed.
One step at a time. One win at a time here. This Galio Jarvan, a nice little combo already selected here. Just need one more pick to round it out. We'll see if they go with another tanky boy in the top side to cover the Aphelios, or maybe a little bit more damage. We'll see what Smeb wants to play.
Yeah, something like a cannon or a Wukong could have worked, to be perfectly honest. But Dudu thinking about taking the blind Aatrox. See this all the time. And is understandable. See if Smeb has some answers. We can definitely say for sure that Volibear is not the answer to Aatrox. Not a thing. Don't do that. As now we're looking for a mid laner. So Lava, see where he goes. Corki going to be locked in. It's going to be his answer to the Galio.
Yeah, and I actually do like it. You can farm up really well, and the poke is going to be great against a comp like this. And you can also use your mobility with the Valkyrie and the package later on to disrupt exactly what KT is already showing you they want to do. So I really like that follow-up.
Oh, man. If they were comfortable picking Camille into Aatrox, it would have been so good for this KT comp. It'd be like that auto-win comp that Gen G put together the other day.
Yeah.
But no. Smeb is a legacy Camille player, of course, but he's going to go back to his roots as the Jace, and something that everyone has so much experience playing against as Jace is, of course, the Aatrox. So looking like a pretty comfy comp here on KT's side as well. Not going to be those tanky boys like you were talking about, but the range wave clear going to be there, the poke damage out of the Jace also going to be there, and a split push option, if that's the way Smeb wants to go, is also going to be there. But Hanwha Life's comp looks fine as well. You know, it's pretty front to back, pretty usual. But I'm looking at this, the Galio combos, and I think that's where KT have an edge.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they could have added a little bit more to it with the Camille, but they decide not to go for that. As over here, definitely a nice amount of scaling with the two quote-unquote 80 carries, if you count Corki in there with his scaling. And they're really, though, going to be relying on kind of Pillar plus Nautilus to get their engages going. But at the same time, they got to deal with the heavy engage of the enemy side. So we'll see how they can do some disengage of their own. And if you consider this comp getting ahead, even before they engage, they have a nice amount of poke as well, just with Aphelios and Jace. If they do get ahead, and we do have Calibrum coming up with that Aphelios. We've all seen that moment where it's like, okay, attacks you once, Qs with the Calibrum, and then ults you, and it's like, oh, I guess you're just dead.
Yeah.
Even though the fight didn't even begin. So I think if KT get ahead, they should be in a pretty nice spot here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both of these comps have similar elements almost everywhere. But at least there is Trundle for disengage options. The Nautilus doesn't have a lot of ability to disengage, though, and with what KT has, which is all of that engage that we've been talking about, the Cataclysm into Heroic Entrance, the Cataclysmic Entrance has been something we've been talking about for a very long time. And once KT get in there, then Taric gets a few rounds with some auto attacks thrown in, gets to heal up everyone. I feel like KT very happy when it comes to team fights. Where the Jace actually sits in that equation is the weird part for me. But we'll see how they go.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned he's got a pretty nice lane against the Aatrox. His split pushing is going to be pretty nice as well. And even in the team fights, he'll offer a nice amount of poke before it does get started, along with that burst damage to blow up whatever target they choose originally, because you would consider with the heroic Cataclysm that you're going to find at least one person. So it's a little bit of burst. Can take him out right away.
Yep. Wins a war into the mid lane. Kuro was one of our legacy Galio players, most certainly. And happy to play that utility style as well that Galio can bring. So certainly fits the play style. The Kuro in mid. Dredge Line's going to land very early in this one as Tucson showing the power of being fabulous.
He's totally fine. You notice that Hail of Blades is taken here by Viper. So it's going to be pretty nice for taking those early trades, stacking up that passive, and just in general blowing up one target. Once it does get to it, Smeb is already in the face of that Aatrox, not letting him have any room.
Yeah, I like it actually. Just trying to put the young man in his place. You know, remember, this is a veterancy, and we come from, you know, Korean society, which is very much, you have to respect your elders, and that's what Dudu's going to have to do here, as he is, I believe, 5 years younger than Smeb.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, actually. Wow. Because remember, Smeb's actually quite young and actually started playing competitively before we had, you know, the 17-year-old rule. Much like Uzi, and Zatai is my favorite example. I think he was a pro player when he was like 13. And so Zatai is like, you'd expect him to be an old man as he like started playing in like 2010, 2011, but he's not. Yamato Cannon, another example of that.
True. I mean, you hear his voice, and then you're like, that guy's got to be...
yeah, exactly.
He's got to be like 35.
His voice has been
no,
like that
like
since 2016.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Truly blessed.
Indeed. Indeed.
It's kind of cute, the duo coming over and looking at the Scuttle Crab, but actually it turns into something a little bit less cute as they're thinking about diving that turret. Not enough minions, though. Smeb didn't bunch up the wave enough.
Yep.
And actually takes a pretty awkward trade here.
As Dudu, I think, suspects that something's up.
Nice
Everyone
board.
else going for recalls as well. Yeah, exactly. Spots what he suspected anyway. That was a cute little Q after the Umbral Dash. So Smeb going to have to be a little bit careful. He's gone through most of his mana. He's got some biscuits to eat, but it's not going to provide him with too much.
Yeah, definitely seemed like a kind of off-the-cuff kind of roam up to the top side. It didn't seem planned, as Smeb didn't seem, you know, on the same page at all on that one. And now we have the Trundle coming up top side. He's going to be able to clear out the ward. Bono's still around here. So Smeb should be just fine, although, again, he's pretty low on that mana, struggling to hard push this wave. He's going to miss that cannon, too.
Yeah. That's a bit of a yikes. Dudu actually going for that trade at exactly the right time. So Smeb's probably just going to teleport back up here. We'll see what he can actually afford when he goes home. If it's Serrated Dirk on this back, you'd be feeling pretty good about it, but don't know whether he'll be able to get there. As you can see, double longsword. And that refillable going to come in. Bottom side of the map, though, I mean, 200 years for aiming. I don't know how many games he's actually had on the Aphelios so far, and the answer is 0.
Huh.
And he was one of our better Aphelios players in the spring season, so looking forward to seeing what he can do with a few extra years under his belt.
Yeah, he had a very strong bias, it felt, towards the Ezreal in the matchup, and we saw the reason why, right? I mean, his Ezreal is pretty insane. But it seems like, perhaps as a team, I'm not even sure, you know, because aiming seems like he's very comfortable on the Ezreal. Perhaps they made a decision altogether that, you know, in this case, we just have to pick the Aphelios. We feel like it's better right now, especially with teams not really punishing it here in the LCK.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get away with it once again, except this time, you know, I was saying, oh, maybe we'll just see Aphelios Ezreal, but you were saying, you know, Viper coming in here with the different ideas with the Kai'Sa.
It's funny because last time we saw the Kai'Sa picked, it was actually an answer to the Ezreal, which is very strange, as Justice Punch will get Kuro out of there after a very good trade into lava. CS not necessarily working in his favor, though. As you can see, he held on to the teleport. Kuro waiting to play with his team. As you can see, Bono's going to make his way in to the mid lane as well. And there are pings out onto exactly where he is, so Cad knows. It must have been a really good trade. Last time we saw Smeb actually laning, you'd pan back top lane and then all of a sudden he was missing 40% of his health. Kind of like right there.
Yeah, like there's
awkward.
No big difference actually. It's very much the same for this guy.
Whoops.
At least the teleports are kind of similar, and he did pick up a refillable, which is actually all gone by now. Saving those biscuits though.
Yeah, exactly. In case he gets hungry.
Yeah.
Like it. Prioritizes hydrating, which is something that we should all do. Hydration definitely more
with
important.
The biscuits?
Yeah. No,
oh, okay. He drank first, okay.
Yeah, made sure that he got hydrated.
I see.
Yep. Saving the biscuits until last.
Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if I have those those dry biscuits, like say I go on like a trip or whatever, and I bring a snack.
Yeah.
I don't like to bring something like biscuits because my mouth always gets really dry. I have to have like a lot of water.
Yeah, then you'll need your refillable at that point.
Yeah.
And so now Smeb's going to eat his biscuits, and he's going to get dry mouth.
Yeah. And if you bring too much water, then you have to stop the rest stop. You're losing time. It's not efficient if you're trying to min-max the journey. So.
And I know you're all about min-maxing and maximizing.
Yes.
As okay, it's an engage here from Lehens, but they're completely by themselves, and they just straight up lose a trade extraordinarily quickly. And remember, Tucson is a very good Taric player. I know that's a weird thing to say. It doesn't exactly have the most high abundance of mechanical prowess. So that's a great knock up there from Dudu as Bono makes his way in. Hold the thought just for a moment as World End up. Oh no, that didn't quite work there from Bono, but it doesn't matter. Just put him in the ring. It's okay. As that's going to be first blood going over to KT, and Bono continuing to have good early games. Did have to invest the flash, but I'd say still worth.
Yeah, definitely a nice little play there. Smeb might be in a little bit of trouble,
I think he's
though.
just dead, yeah.
Okay.
Had great timing on that blast cone. And that's probably going to deny Shelly as well. Although there is a back coming through from Lava. But no, still, it is effectively going to deny.
To be honest, this doesn't feel like the highest level of top lane play we've ever seen, if you know what I'm saying. A very easy bait from Smeb to get Dudu out of position. The second he dashes forward here, he's pretty much dead. And it doesn't matter if he's got flash. Bono, I don't even know if he had to flash, but just wanted to make sure.
It looked like he was trying to go for like the QE knockup with the flash. As this timing, I don't think could have been better from Cad, to be honest.
Perfect.
I think that was really, really nice.
Perfect timing.
And that is going to net them the Rift Herald as well. So Shelly's going to be the prize. KT ahead by about 400, something like that. That should change as some of these plates are going to be eaten by Hanwha Life.
Yeah, we'll see where they want to use that. I think mid or bot is probably safe to go ahead with that, especially because a lot of these LCK teams are looking for a little bit more than just a couple of plates, maybe like a gank into chipping down 2 or 3 plates and then maybe getting the turret would be the most ideal. So
yep.
Doesn't always happen that way. As other than that little bit of a shenanigan in the top side, it's been a pretty, slower game. The bottom side is just farming. The mid lane is, of course, with Cole, Corki up against Galio. You're never really going to have too much action there. We've just been getting at it here.
Yeah, just hanging out. Serrated Dirk done here for Smeb finally, so he's going to be able to utilize that, leverage a bit of extra damage against Dudu, who's just wanting to create his cooldown reduction items. Certainly he's going to get some value out of the Ninja Tabi. As the Canadian dollar moving into the enemy jungle, Bono's not going to be deterred from this blue buff though, as Kuro's going to come over and take it away. Or he's not going to take it away. Or he's going to punch it. There we go.
Yeah.
Got there in the end. That's the main thing. Misses out on 3.
Let's see what let's see how much he misses here. He's not going to get that XP either, so 2 XP.
3 melee minions.
3 gold. Ooh, that's pretty awkward. He would have had all of that if he just hit his Winds of War.
Yep, or if Bono had have stood there and let
True.
him,
Yeah.
I don't know. We can play the blame game all we want, but let's just say that it was an unfortunate series of events.
Yeah. Either way, he got trolled out of it for sure. And he has fallen a little bit behind on the CS. Corki is usually pretty... it's usually pretty easy to land all your autos onto the minions. I think even with the call, you can kind of just sit there up against what should be a very passive lane against the Galio and just pretty much get all of them without too much pressure.
Speaking of pressure, Smeb continuing to win trades here up against Dudu, who's now just got out of the lane. North Rift Scuttler going to be spawning relatively soon, but it looks like our junglers are more concerned with what's happening around this Drake area. KT probably gunning for that one, wanting to augment their Mountain Drake that they've already picked up. Ocean or the Cloud going to be our sole opportunities. As I say it, Bono moves on over, but there is a ward in the back of the pit. Looks like Hanwha not looking to actually fight for this, as their positioning on the map not quite good enough.
Yeah. It's kind of a feels bad, man, for them. I mean, the Nautilus went back. He might die here, actually.
Yep. This is Smeb looking for that solo kill. Flashes on over. Q is avoided. World Ender, remember, is going to be very valuable as the Shock Blast is going to miss, and I think this is, unfortunately, the end of Smeb as he dives on in, almost able to get it back, but he's not. We saw shades of old Smeb, and then they were gone.
Yeah, he got a little bit too scared by the ability of the Aatrox to win a late trade there at the last second. Yeah, nice trade there from him as they, again, you know, I was talking about maybe using the Rift Veil on the bottom side. He saved it until almost the end of the timer.
Yeah, as now, Lahens just walks over and kills a Gargoyle. Okay.
There have been a lot of very sudden attempts at people's lives in this game.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the setup was for that one, but that's a bit of a yikes. Is Bono, he's going to flag, he's going to drag, gets himself the knock-up onto Cad. The flash has to be used to get out of the dazzle, and that means the Cad is stuck in there for the whole duration. Unfortunately, Bono without enough. And there it is, the double knock-up, the double stun, and the flash forward for the Q, but not going to be able to find it there. But aiming, grabbing a kill is huge news here for KT.
Yeah, it's pretty massive, especially with that nice little lead he's garnered for himself in the bottom side. But he does have to roll it into something else because the rest of his team is struggling a bit, especially this top side. The Jace is not supposed to lose the lane, let alone lose his turret by 13 minutes into the game. All of those plates going to the top and jungle of the side of Hanwha Life. And you'll see that he's going to get the one. And all of this is going to go towards aiming instead of the Jace, which I guess at the end of the day, is not so bad, you know?
Be psyched about that one. Jace actually spending some time towards the bottom side of the map. Smeb going on an excursion with his newly completed Ghostblade. Surprised that he didn't prioritize getting an Executioner's Calling after what just happened. It was a flash, so I guess maybe that gives Kuro a little bit of a leg to stand on, but probably don't want to be just standing in the middle of the lane doing nothing. As this was played beautifully. Look at those dazzles. Yeah. Almost able to line it up there in the first one.
I feel like Bono could have, you know, he had his flash, but he was playing it pretty slow. I think he should have flashed in the beginning. I think it would have just kept them in range for longer to allow the Aphelios to catch up. Here at the end, I mean, the flash looked nice, but I feel like it might have been a little bit too late to try to secure both. Just thinking about, you know, what is the higher percentage chance that you get both of the kills that, you know, you should be getting in that kind of a play when they stay that long to take down the turret.
Sadly, it's a Cloud Drake this game. A couple of minutes until that one is available. KT with an opportunity for Soul Point, but the Soul not feeling as valuable. Although 300 gold the lead here for Hanwha Life, the stats that you're getting from Mountain Drake and Infernal Drake are going to equate to that and more. As Lahens may just die here as well, as aiming is going to move on over. Grabbing him is armed. Not going to be able to stop the Nautilus just yet.
Yeah, looks like they want to make a play here at Shirley to aiming after losing Shelly. And Hanwha Life seemed totally fine with that, and I don't blame them. You know, get your Aatrox some solo XP, maybe even get a bit of damage done onto this turret while aiming, or rather KT, have all of their players up on the top side trying to get this this objective that might chunk a turret to, you know, half health or something.
Yeah, or even take down the mid outer turret, which is going to be very important for them. Smerm's going to get down here and even save this turret here, and it does have his teleport still available. Same can be said for Doodoo. That means that KT, they get the objective and don't get punished, really, especially with no turret plates available still. Lens Hex flashing out of the fountain. I love it.
Talking about min-maxing, you know, he's got to get that that tiny little bit of extra. Lava might just wait here until he can package up to the Cloud Drake fight.
Yep.
Delayed that for about 15 seconds. He didn't buy anything else, so it's
all
not like
about
he was waiting for an item.
Getting the value. And speaking of items, does have pretty good ones at the moment as well in the Manamune and the Trinity Force. He's ready to fight. Manamune done for Viper as well, but that pickaxe means that that first evolution is going to be up on the queue also, which is a good power spike for the Kai'Sa.
I feel kind of sad that we can't see exactly how far his tier is stacked. You know, I think that
that should be a buff thing, right?
Yeah, but for some reason it's not. If we could get that added to the UI, that would be nice.
Right now.
Yeah. Get on it, Riot.
Yep. Shock Blast heads towards Narnia. As our friend Ejim would say, if only he could make it to Korea.
Pepe hands.
Yeah, indeed. Eyeball thump. There's the package. That's what we waited for. Lava getting towards the bottom side. Kuro. He's the one that's able to be away from his team, as Shirley is going to pop down into this mid lane. This is what we were talking about, wanting to get some value here on the mid-outer turret. Doodoo comes over, pokes Shirley in the eye, but KT are going to be fine, especially with their Gargoyle making his way up the river. Smith finally finds himself a Shock Blast, and there's the heroic entry very early. Not entirely sure why that went down so fast, but they were still able to get a lot of poke damage. But without that, the Jarvan combo is not going to feel as powerful. But Tucson still has Cosmic Radiance. KT looking for their opportunity.
Imagine
there
if they had it
oh
now.
My god, okay. Bono just explodes before the Cosmic Radiance can arm. And cue the yakety sax, Brandon.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. Imagine if they had a, you know, a Galio ultimate to to try to help out a little bit there with keeping him alive and getting an engage going, even if Bono dies.
Oh, Lava made it in with the teleport. Okay. Wow. I was expecting that one not to work out, as aiming does have Crescendum Calibrum. Does have a lot of damage potential, as in goes Lehens. He's going to go golden before he dies. The Taric also going to fall. Lehens in trouble. Kuro not going to be able to do anything. Moonlight Vigil unable to find the damage, as Cad wasn't tagged up. And Hanwha steal away the team fight. KT basically handed to them, gift wrapped, along with a dragon.
That was just, my face was it was tightened up into some really weird face that you guys did not want to see. Thankfully, I'm not on camera during that entire fight. I mean, KT is just like, where is the communication? Like, everything is all over the place. He goes in, he gets bursted here, which I'm guessing they did not expect. And then after that, they're like, whoa, okay, I guess we still have to try to force this over a Cloud Drake when it's a Cloud Soul that we don't necessarily need. And we get really far forward. Lehens shows why Stopwatch is the best item. Imagine if their Jarvan had that one, and then Kuro's like, well, I'm dead, so I guess I'll just go in here. Extremely messy. That time from the side of KT. Lehens is having a great game of Nautilus. I don't want to take that away from him. He's had multiple plays now where he's gotten some fantastic engages. As he's just saying, okay, I'm going in. Let's go get Dragon. Some basic stuff there. But as you were saying, I mean, it's kind of like KT are giving them the underhanded softball and saying, you know, swing for the fences. And Hanwha is like, well, hell yeah, man. I've got Corki, I've got Kai'Sa. We're already pretty far ahead, and I don't blame them. They must be feeling pretty good right now with their lead.
Yeah, precisely. And remember, this Jace was picked for lane. Still Smeb sitting at 0, 2, and 1. And it was his job at the start of that fight to soften up the members of Hanwha, and unfortunately wasn't able to find the empowered shock blasts that we'd need him to in order to make that one work, because the war of attrition will be won by KT every day of the week, right? They've got a Taric. They can sit Taric in a minion wave, allow him to recharge that heal as often as possible. But we'll have to see. I still think that in straight up 5v5s, KT do have an edge, right? They have so much wombo combo potential. And Cosmic Radiance is just so good against exactly what Hanwha wants to do, assuming they can time it correctly and coordinate it with things like the heroic entrance and stuff like that. Like, it's just, it's not a comp that you can just auto-win with, although that is how I explained it when we were discussing the draft and how it was used by Gen G. In fact, used by Gen G against KT, might I add. I believe that was how that one worked. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you're a KT fan, you still have to pray for that, you know, a much cleaner fight in the mid to late game here. I mean, they still have the tools to make a very easy, you know, kind of click and engage comp where the Cosmic Radiance arms and the Jarvan goes in and you've got the Galio follow-up, and then you just got to say, okay, aiming, take it away. And hopefully he can do the dirty work once it does come to those fights. But every fight that they throw like that, it just gets harder and harder up against two pretty mega carries here that are already really fed in the Corki and the Kai'Sa. So it really does come down to how clean KT can engage. Who are they going to pick off? If they could get the Kai'Sa to start, that would be nice. But it's not going to be easy.
Yep. KT moving up towards the river. Baron's alive, but I don't know whether it's an objective that either team can really look for. So looks like the top outer turret is what KT are aiming for at this point in time. If Scuttle Vision is there, that is going to guarantee that outer. So KT rotating around, making sure that global gold is something that they can claim. As Void Seeker does find Tucson. And that's what you need to be doing, Smith. Landing these Empowered Shock Blasts. Supercharge not quite enough there from Viper, as Dudu is going to head down towards the bottom side. And will, if he wants to, be able to take that turret, but he doesn't have the vision that we do. My hands over there, grabs some vision. So, Smeb clears out bottom wave. That is going to deny that turret. Only one has been taken so far from Hanwha Life. However, they still have close to a 2,000 gold lead. And that just means there is standing gold on this map that Hanwha's scaling composition can happily pick up when they feel they need to. It's going to mean that when there is a turn in this game, especially if it's a fight that Hanwha wins, it's a lot of extra money that are able to pack on.
Yeah. There really hasn't been much else going on in this one. I mean, we had the top turret go down in between Cloud Drakes after that big team fight. And not much has changed. I mean, we can take a look at the items. Now Corki has 3 big ones as he does pick up the rapid fire cannon. And he is going to be just chunking people out. I think he's going to be the main guy to look at because he'll be really hard to lock down as well.
Yep.
For the side of KT. I think they have a chance to take down Viper, but Lava should have his way of the team fight.
Now Bono, you can see, desperate to try and find his way into this fight. Know that he loves it. As aiming, he's the Bastion at the moment. As okay, Crow's not going to be able to get in there. Cloud Drake is what both of these teams are fighting for at the moment, as the Void Seeker somehow picks the gap between KT. There's the Sentry. Okay, Smeb starting to land some pretty good ones here as the package was about to time out. And Lava's now going to look for a back timing. He can teleport back in like he did once before. A possible opportunity here for KT to get some positioning. You can see Smeb already with a fair bit of damage in this fight. There's the teleport from Lava. Skuro finds some Winds of War onto Cad. Subjugate will make him surprisingly tanky though in these instances. Skuro can always reposition. Just, I'm waiting for Bono to make a good move. That's what I'm concerned about right now. KT sustain definitely strong, and Smeb continues to land these absolutely fantastic shock blasts. In goes Kuro, does get himself. There's the Cataclysm that we finally see. And Bono, this time, put a clock together for himself. Not going to find too much actual ender damage, though, as finally, 200 years later, we do manage to pick that one up. Lahens down to about 300 as Smeb dives on forward. Great knock-up is going to spell the end of Viper, is now aiming, looks for another Q-snipe. The KT, they've already managed to win this one as Lahens down to Yeah, still sitting there at 300 health, just trying to get himself out. Meanwhile, KT will be able to get themselves the Baron.
Yeah, that was a little bit I mean, it was pretty good from KT to chip down that damage. That's something we were talking about, their poke ability. Even in the face of Corki, they were able to do so much more just with only the Jace. I really like the idea of giving them blue to the Jace so that he can just non-stop harass you before the fight. And Hanwha Life never really decided, okay, we're just going to go for the Cloud Drake until they were like awkwardly in the spot where they're like, I guess we'll try to go for the steal. And then Cat gets caught, and then hence Dudu get caught. It's like just the dominoes start falling as this time Bono's got a stopwatch. Looks like Kuro was kind of pulled out of his heroic entrance there somehow, so there wasn't much of a follow-up. But it didn't matter because we got Caitlyn and Varus in one on the side of KT, and they are able to just blow them up as the engage does not fail when it is 4 versus 1 there as well. So they feed another kill over to the Aphelios, and now it looks like KT are handily in the lead after a pretty clean follow-up after taking down the Drake.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse as well. As Viper, you can see split pushing on the top side of the map. It's going to be a little bit dangerous as he approaches this inner turret, but it looks like he ain't scared. Maybe should be. 3 minutes until Cloud Drake number 4 is available here for KT, or Drake number 4. As Viper says, no, well, I guess if no one's coming back, I'm just going to take this inner turret. KT said the same thing about the bottom lane. When it comes down, clears out vision. Hanwha Life do have a fair bit of wave clear in the form of the Corki. And finally, we do see the back coming in from Viper. Smev moves over. Vision does tell Hanwha Life exactly what's going on. As aiming, he is very scary. Let's look at him trying to get into position here. Big one is going to land onto Tucson and himself, though. And that will deter them from pushing any further forward. Looks like the siege is not necessarily working out the bottom lane, but KT will be able to take down the inner turret in mid and maybe even transition towards the top side as that wave is going to reset. All right, goodbye, Bono.
Okay.
We'd say that we were surprised, but we've been watching Bono play for quite a few years now.
Oh, what a strange place to be caught, too. That's going to put an end to their Baron push. That's pretty unfortunate.
Isn't it strange that he got caught standing by himself just outside the front gate of the enemy base?
Yeah. And, nah. he clears the ward, and then he's like, yeah, I should be fine, but I don't know. I mean, they still have an Nautilus.
Where do you think they went?
They still have a Nautilus, right?
Oh, man.
They've got a ward. He can see it. It's like, okay. I think the second you see that ward, you gotta flag drag over the wall, or just not go there in the first place. Maybe a little bit too overconfident with his positioning, and immediately gets punished. And, you know, that's going to put an end to the Baron push. So the Baron push gets the 2 inner turrets in mid and bot. But
I mean, it's 1,000 gold Baron power play. That's not even power play.
It's really small. Really doesn't end up doing much. And eventually, if these hard carries from the side of Hanwha Life can get to the late game and they actually start engaging, instead of just, you know, letting KT engage onto them and then wondering why their Kaisa is dying immediately, they could definitely have some success once it does get into that later stage of the game, maybe around like an Elder Drake fight or something like that. We do, of course, have the Cloud Soul Drake coming up here in 40 seconds. And the package has been taken once again here by Lava.
Yep, he's got another one. Let's see whether he can make that one work. Still sitting on the teleport as well. As Bono's going to take a fair bit of damage from these rockets. Pillar is relatively wasted, and yeah, aiming, he almost has item number 4 in the Death Stance, and I think when that comes in, it's like almost surrender time, as we've learnt here in the LCK. I think maybe not in other regions, but here in the LCK, it certainly does spell the end. Yeah. For most of our teams, KT, 5 seconds, and that Cloud Drake is going to pop up. There he is.
You were talking about Aphelios items, but even
oh, he does. He has the Death Stance.
Yeah, he
Never
does.
mind. Okay, the game's over.
And LS is one who's been very vocal about how you can counter Aphelios. They haven't really done a very good job of that on the side of Hanwha Life. Lots of low range that is not going to do well against Aphelios with 4 items.
Oh my god, it was the steal! Cad just walks on over, but is it going to be enough? Moonlight Vigil hit absolutely nothing. I'm not sure what he was aiming for there, but his name's aiming, so he definitely knew. It was something.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still aiming now.
Yeah, perhaps. He's just desperate to use those items that he's taken, and the enemy team is not really giving him a shot.
That's a big deal, though.
Yeah. It's going to delay the Elder Drake, I think, most importantly. We talked about how the Cloud Drake Soul is kind of, you know, it's all right. I feel like it would be better for Hanwha Life. But they're still 2 Drakes away from picking that one up. So we'll see if it does get into that. The unfortunate thing that might happen here is we might enter another slight little lull state.
Yeah. I guess I get to ask you about whether you played Star Wars Racer. As we're going to see the flash in, and King's Tribute also did a lot of work. As this is where Cad says, nice. Perfect. There we go. I was waiting for the worth, but that's going to count.
The Cloud Drake is worth more than my Trundle's life in this game. And yeah, we do have the Baron coming up here in a couple of seconds. I feel like KT could have a really nice turn onto that, actually. And they have some pretty nice beefy boys and good sustain with the Taric, so they could just bait around Baron, look for the turn, and try to end off of that. We'll see what they try to do here. I think it's going to be much more difficult for Hanwha to push into the Baron. And KT just say, okay, well, actually, we're just going to push the top lane, as Hanwha Life was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, they've found them now. There's the Void Seeker. Bono avoids all of the CC until he decides to stand in amongst the enemy team. And then very late Cataclysm that actually just blocks aiming off. Depth Charge is going to come down as Viper goes for the execution. But this is Aphelios, so he's not going to be able to do so. There's the Cosmic Radiance as now the fight is on. And Lava just got baited. Smeb dives in on top of Viper, looking to see whether he can get the execution. Is now Aiming's looking for it. He's looking to do Aphelios things, and there's the taunt. It's going to land onto the Troll once again, and now it's a 4 versus 3, and KT have stolen away the team fight.
Yeah, imagine that dirty of a team fight that starts with Bono going for a little bit of a walk through the enemy blue buff and doing nothing before dying. And then still struggling against the Aphelios in the top side with 2 of your carries right on top of him, plus a tank. Still not able to do anything with this composition that Hanwha Life do have, and so it's going to be a pretty easy team fight win for KT, even after sacrificing their Jarvan. And we'll take another look at it here. Bono's like, oh, they're all here. Maybe I can get out. Misses his flag, flashes for no reason. You're like, okay, well, this is silly. And then KT gets forced into the fight. You're thinking, oh, this is great for Hanwha Life, but that's not the case. Just watch aiming. Eventually, here we go.
Oh, Lava, that must feel so bad.
Imagine you've got Aphelios who's fed, but then you have invulnerable Aphelios who's fed. That's even better. It's so good for the late game. It's incredible, actually. We see so much Aphelios Nautilus, which is great for fighting front to back, forcing team fights, but maybe Taric was the even better option.
Well, I mean, I think Taric, especially when it's piloted by Tucson, is just fantastic. He's able to coordinate with Kuro and Bono very well, also with his dazzles that have been working out very, very well. I'm not sure whether it's Aiming or Tucson that are gunning towards a player of the game this game, but I find it very hard because you think about all of the mistakes, and it feels like every player on the Rift at the moment has made a few of them. Yeah. So every time you think about it, it's like, and I should give it to, but wait. I think one thing I know is Bono's not going to get it this game.
Yeah, I think we can kind of count him out. Sorry, Bono.
Not happening this time.
Yeah, Smeb, you know, he's doing really good with his poking in the mid game, but his laning phase was pretty messy. Yep, I don't know. Maybe Aphelios just gets it again.
Well, we'll see. They'll need to win this team fight as Tucson has to use the Cosmic Radiance very early, and there's the heroic entrance as well, and that's a few years worth of damage, guys. As Empowered Shock Blast flies in and says goodbye to Lehens. He's going to get himself out. Speaking of a lot of damage, Smeb's going to take a bit, because Lava does need to be respected. But yeah, the Aphelios things are starting. Yeah. He's got 6 eyes, guys, so you can understand exactly why. In goes Kuro, looks for the taunt, doesn't get it. Teleport back here from Smeb. He's going to get 5 people bearing down onto these Nexus turrets. It's only Cad that's dead. I don't know whether 4 people are going to be enough to save them from this, as Aiming's looking to get in position, even if there are Nexus turrets, to try and die. It's a good knock up there from Bono. Finds Dudu, though, who's pretty tanky. Lahan's still in trouble as Viper's trying to be that one-man army. They do manage to get Aiming. Sorry, no, it's not Aiming into the Guardian Angel, as Aiming's just dodging everyone's abilities. And look at the Nexus. It just explodes. And Smeb says, I want the game to be over, as KT do take game 1.
I'm like looking at my POG sheet. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Do I change it from Aiming to Tucson? Was really my only thought there. And I'm just going to give it to Aiming. I think he had a good game on the Aphelios. I feel like at the same time, though, it was kind of handed to him in the draft.
I mean, if I get to make a choice, which I don't, I would have given it to Tucson. 100%.
Yeah.
I think it was
Tucson
really
did have a great game.
He's the only one that didn't make the big whoopsies.
Yeah.
And he was
True.
there just
Very
trying
clean.
to repair the rest of them. His Tarek has always been very, very good. But yeah, that game in general is going to require some VOD review on both sides.
Yeah, it was definitely messy. I think both teams struggled with communication, especially KT early on. But then they just hit this tipping point where Aphelios didn't get behind it all in the game, and he was going up against 5 members on the enemy team that all had to be within his range to do any damage.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that LS talks about all the time, is that if you don't have the range to at least poke him out, or, you know,
I mean, that's why
hard engage onto him, it's like you're just going to struggle every single time. And that's exactly, it just eventually happened where it's like the first 20-25 minutes didn't matter, and it's like, oh, Aphelios against this comp, I guess we just win.
Yeah. And you saw Viper wasn't actually able to get too much done. Lava did what he could, did the best that he could, but in the end, it did come down to the Aphelios. And yeah, the one thing I was going to add is that it feels like inherently, Aphelios just is very happy to go against Kai'Sa.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you have Crescendo.
Feels
right?
great.
Kai'Sa like jumps in with a killer instinct, and Aiming's like, oh, well, thanks for the 300 gold. That was a very smart, a very quick delivery. And he thought it was Corky that was making those deliveries.
Yeah.
But look, Hanwha Life were able to at least get themselves to a point where they were in some form of lead, and the game was very, very close throughout the mid game. And honestly, felt like at certain points it could have gone either way. It's just that KT managed to wrap things up. I think that first Baron was the beginning of the end, and then the second was the final nail in the coffin. But certainly some cleaning up to do for both of these teams. It's not feeling like a top-of-the-table clash.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I was actually thinking about that earlier. I'm like, should I say it or should I wait until Atlas says it?
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Perfect definition of the match tonight.
Exactly right. So let's see what happens in game number 2 and which kind of music we're going to be cueing. We'll see you then.
3타워,
이쪽
3타워.
막아줘라.
여기 걸리는 거 볼게.
아
타워부터 타워만.
타워.
나 가인이야, 나 가인이야.
여기
다 죽여,
오케이.
다 죽여, 다 죽여.
타운 찍게.
가자, 갈랐다.
나이스.
아, 너무 많이 잘랐다. 맞아.
오우
쏘리.
괜찮아.